do you think, which way does it come into a difference in today's wrestling product?
If I understand your question right, I think the product has evolved, changed, and morphed to suit the culture. Our culture expects news. Now, they want to know what's going on all over the world within 2.5 or 3 minutes. They just want the headlines. They don't want the story, right? That's just what we've become. We get our information, on an SMS. Most of our dialogue is digital, so we're processing information so much faster. And entertainment products, wrestling in particular, has to adapt to that. And it's adapted to that by telling stories faster. You go back to the mid-'80s, even into the early '90s, WWE had 4 pay-per-views. WCW had 4 pay-per-views. You had an entire quarter. You had 3 months to build up your stories and your characters, and experiment, build, create anticipation. Now you've got 3 weeks.
Right.
So week 1 is the beginning of the story. Act 1, Act 2 is week 2, Act 3 is week 3. Payoff is at the pay-per-view. That's a really short story, and short stories don't resonate the way longer, bigger stories do.
I just spoke to Jimmy Hart, who said that there's probably like a library of 100 songs he produced in WCW that actually Turner still owns as opposed to WWE. Do you think there's a market in the future for like music libraries for creators, or maybe it be the producers themselves to sort of license these to wrestling companies? Because we saw AEW just license the one that holds the Hardy Boys theme.
Look, there's always going to be a value in almost any form of content. Hey man, good to see you. It's like, I haven't seen him in a while. I haven't seen a lot of you guys I don't know, but he and I know, right? And him too, I regret to admit. But there's always going to be value to content, whether it be music, video, NFTs, whatever it is, there'll be value to it. But I think a wrestling-related library, yeah, definitely. Except for Jimmy's music, it just blows. I don't know about yours. Sorry, Jimmy. Hey, baby, I love you. Thanks for giving me a shout out. WCW Saturday Night, baby, I love you.
So I have a question. So when right now in the era that we live right now with wrestling, there's a lot of talk about sports entertainment and pro wrestling. So how would you be able to define that? What's the balance that you think that wrestling should have right now?
I'll tell you what my balance is. If I'm doing an interview for WWE on any one of their networks or something that's associated with them, it's sports entertainment. Out of respect. But in my normal course of conversation, it's professional wrestling. Because that's what I do. I've never felt the need to try to change the name of it for any reason. So personal conversations on 83 weeks, my podcast, it's always professional wrestling, unless I'm talking about WWE, and then out of respect to sports entertainment.
In the last couple of years, you're kind of TV media for both WWE and AEW. Do you have a favorite appearance for the last couple of years?
Nah. It's always fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm always grateful for the opportunity to get out in front of a red light. Even this one, although this one feels more like a firing squad than television. But there is a red light. I see one over there. But look, when I show up, it's a cameo. I'm not involved in the storyline. It's really just a little bit of garnish on the plate, which I'm very grateful for. But it's hard to compare that to being a minister and the Chuck and Billy wedding. That was kind of fun, right? How do you compare with that?
So do you see yourself doing anything anytime soon with either WWE or AEW where you will be full time?
No. No. Number one, I'm a realist. As much as I enjoy performing and getting out there in front of the camera, I'm always grateful to put my toe in the water and make an appearance. That ship has sailed, brother. That's in my rearview mirror. I'm grateful for it. I'm happy to get up every morning and look at my rearview mirror and think about the things that I've been able to do. But I'm fortunate to not feel so connected to it that I have to have that back in my life. I'm really happy doing what I'm doing.
How about backstage writing? Writing backstage, storyline?
Because it actually, that sounds fun, and it is fun, because the creative process is a blast when it's a healthy one. But that's 2 full-time jobs, because you're not only working while you're working, but you're thinking while you're not working, and you're imagining. And it's hard to turn that switch off if you're really good at it and you're really passionate about it. So it's not like you go to work at 9 o'clock in the morning and come home at 6 o'clock at night. Forget about it. I've done my best work at 3 o'clock in the morning in my sleep, and I wake up with an idea. And as cool as that sounds, it's fatiguing as hell. So I'm good right where I'm at, brother.
Okay, can I ask actually one last question about, the gentleman there talks about, you being AEW, WWE. It felt like initially there was a more rosy relationship with you and Tony Khan and AEW, the appearances, and you've been a little bit more critical potentially recently. What would you attribute that to? Is it more kind of, giving them a fair shake at the start and kind of being more critical of them now? Where did it kind of change for you?
It didn't change at all for me. What changed in the discourse between Tony Khan and I was that Tony felt whatever he felt it necessary to come out and say that, Dynamite is where WCW was in 1996. Well, come on. Is there anybody here that buys that? WCW was beating the WWE at that time. WCW was an extremely profitable company at that time. WCW had a lot. WCW was promoting massive pay-per-views at that time. Many of them, not just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 a year. You can't compare WCW to AEW, but he felt like, he's got to try to get himself focused, so he threw that out there, which was fine. That part didn't really bother me. What really bothered me was when Tony Khan said, well, if Ted Turner knew as much about booking as I do, WCW would have never failed. That pissed me the fuck off. That was so disrespectful. And I gave an honest response to an honest question. And that honest response kind of, created an opportunity for Tony to feel his need to respond, which I understand. I don't hold him against him for that. But that's where it kind of escalated. But it doesn't have anything to do with my feelings about AEW. I'm a fan of AEW. I'm excited about AEW. I want them to succeed. I see a lot of great things. I said that, long before our little dust up. Kind of when we talk about Dynamite on 83 podcast, and I would point out the things I enjoy about AEW more than the WWE. But at the same time, if I'm asked a question, I'm going to be honest in my critique of that. But it's not meant to be a shot. It's interpreted. And I think Tony's a little thin-skinned, and he took it a little hard.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Aaron. We're going to bring out Conrad now.
No, I'm having fun now.
Listen, we got a pay-per-view with it. I don't want you to
All right.
put yourself out. Hey, Aaron. So we're going to have Conrad, guys. No.
I didn't hear anything.
All right, guys. The Podfather himself, Conrad, Thompson. I have a couple of minutes.
Hey, look at the new homeowner.
Thanks for the house. So, we just heard the announcement of a new Eric Bischoff show with John Alba. What goes into these decisions when you decide I'm going to launch a new show on an already profitable service like this?
Eric wants to talk more current stuff, and he thought this was a way to do it. I would prefer not to talk about current stuff. He really likes it, as you can tell. We're excited to have another idea, and I would imagine pretty soon there'll be some more ideas announced.
Okay. You want to tell us what those are?
I think you'll find out about some of that stuff today, man.
So
maybe not yet today, but at some point.
So what exactly happened where now you're co-hosting Ric Flair's podcast? Can you tell us a little bit about
have Twitter?
I do, but is the show going to be any different now that you're there instead of Mark? That's about it? Okay.
My vision for Rick's show has always been to walk, cover myself up in the nostalgia. Who better to do that than Rick? So I think we will do guests occasionally. I think we'll do a lot of fan questions, but I think we'll do a lot of watch-alongs. I want to see what, I got lucky enough years ago to watch Rick and Steamboat from Chi-Town Rumble. He had never seen it back. That was pretty cool to have him be able to watch that back, having never sat down and watched it, and say, oh, here's what I was thinking. I remember right here we were going to do blah, blah, blah. I thought, man, what a master's degree in wrestling we're getting right now. But we were just hanging out. So I want to record that and bring it out. But yeah, it's unfortunate that it all happened the way it did. But here we are.
Yeah.
Conrad, you were very successful with StarCast, this perfect kind of alternative convention event. You brought in a lot of people, a lot of great partners that fight and try to bring people on board with it. Is there any chance of more events like that?
I think it's time for another StarCast. I can't say that I've put pen to paper and have an actual contract in hand, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't working. So we'll see what happens next. We've got some pretty fun ideas. If and when it happens.
Everybody and their brother has like a wrestling podcast nowadays. What do you think? Looking at the market and how it is too, and the potential of like oversaturation stuff like that with wrestling podcasts in general. How do you feel? How do you go about approaching strategy with certain things, and knowing that what will appeal to maybe wrestling fans going forward?
I think there's more of an emphasis on video now, maybe than ever before. Podcasting used to be something that was consumed one way, and it feels like some of our shows, Rick's show in particular, did very, very well on YouTube, and I think there's going to be more of an appetite for video. So I've been working on a show. I've got 9 or 10 shows in the can right now where it's heavy emphasis on video. I haven't announced it yet, but we're going to continue to try to evolve the medium as much as we can, because I think podcasting is just getting started. I mean, it really comes down to content creation, which is no different than what you guys are doing right now.
I'm going to ask you a fantasy question, Conrad. So say the Health Rose decided he wants to do a podcast, and you know that he likes to embellish it.
Well, I don't know that he would have fun doing it. I would love to get the little kid in me became a wrestling fan because of Hulk Hogan. So that would be really a fun challenge to think about. But it's hard for me to imagine that he would get excited about sitting in front of a computer every week talking about the old stuff. And I like that occasionally he's never let the truth get in the way of a good story. That's a Dusty-ism. And, it made it more fun to think about. Andre had to win Trump stops and before every muscle in his back. He was telling a good story. So I give him a little bit of latitude.
And how do you handle if you're going to podcast with someone and you've got the that comes back and they say, that's not true? How do you kind of have the balance of challenging people and also not letting things like that's a hard balance trying to do there?
Well, I scream. I scream at Eric Bischoff and Bruce. No, I mean, we're trying to create a good show, but I don't think any of our hosts intentionally lie. I think they're misremembering things. I think they have their perspective. I bet if we were to interview, somebody after a relationship, a boyfriend, girlfriend, breakup, they've got different stories than how it is now. So I think that's probably what it is more than anything. It's hard for me to imagine that Bruce or Eric or anybody just sits down and says, live day. And I think when Hogan was maybe stretching the truth, he was just trying to entertain us. It's not like it's a decade.
Sometimes Rick's been known to just kind of blurt stuff out that he's not supposed to about like Charlotte's booking or something like that. Are you prepared to get like messages from Bruce that's like, what the hell, man?
I'm trying not to talk about the current stuff a ton. Sure. I know that Rick likes to do that, but I legitimately don't have any inside information. I don't call Bruce and say, what's happening on night 2?
You should, then you should tell me.
I will keep that in mind.
Last one, guys.
No, as a rule of thumb, I'm not going to ask or talk about current stuff.
You kind of Supershow is 80s, 90s, wrestling fan. Did you have any idea what this market? You're doing something so specific, but at such a big turnout for
no, I mean, I knew it was the type of content I was going to listen to. I knew that it was interesting to me, it would be interesting to other folks who were my age and watch the same stuff I did, but I would be lying if I thought I would be standing here looking at all of you. It's just a little surreal.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Conrad.
Thanks, everybody.
Coming up next for you guys.
All right.
Conrad.
Appreciate it, bud.
Yeah, thank you, Conrad.
Thanks, bud. Thank you. Hey, good to see you, Dave. Hey, good to see you over there. What's going on, buddy?
I'm hiding over here. I'm tired.
Dude, we're all over.
I popped when you said everybody and their brother.
Yeah, right. I know, right?
I wanted to be literally.
Like literally,
you.
I'm the guy. Oh man, are you selling beer? Look at this.
Everybody's so serious. I know all these folks.
Jeff, how was AAA for you last night?
What are you talking about? I wasn't there.
No?
I guess it's just
No, it's been obviously a couple of years. It was really kind of surreal in a good way. I haven't been on AAA in a couple of years, and so by impressive, whole vibe going on, it just kind of fit. A couple of folks that I know in Mexico City were shocked, and they don't use that term very lightly. So if I can shock those some of my close friends in Mexico City, I think mission accomplished.
Jeff, recently you brokered into the world of professional sports, promoting a team now, Lucky Horseshoes in Springfield, Illinois. Tell me about that. How is your wrestling promotion going to affect a baseball organization? That's a different challenge.
You know, the cool part about the entire experience of Lucky Horseshoes is that Jamie Toole is the majority partner with Capital City Baseball, and we've had a relationship for multiple years. I've had a multi-year, 20-plus year relationship with minor league baseball. And minor league baseball is radically different than major league baseball. Minor league baseball, they may have a set of players one month, and the next month they're entirely new roster. So they have to sell fun, entertainment, and the experience and the atmosphere, and that really goes hand in hand with professional wrestling. And so when we connected, and he pitched sort of, I'll call it the vision. It was right up my alley. First, it was a little bit of a head scratcher when they presented the ownership package and plan and where we were going. We did the rebranding last month. The statistic that I'll share, it's kind of hot off the press. It's really, this is more for moment. We're creating it. I don't want to point fingers or anything. Our digital numbers did more in the month of January than we did last year in the entire year combined. And I just say that, out of all due respect, is that the rebranding and the engagement and coming to town, I'll say, you got to be here for a wrestling event with a real professional wrestling mindset, to make a lot of noise, get engaged in the community, nonprofits, Salvation Army, YMCA. We have really go into the community, working with the mayor. Did a live event with WWE, and the whole genesis of that was I was going to take the mayor out to a United Wrestling. He's a longtime wrestling fan. He's taken his kids in years past, so we get to go to a live event. We ended up on Biz TV. The mayor was announced. Biz wore a jersey of the Lucky Horseshoes in the ring, so it was a really great live event, great event. So it has exceeded all expectations.
Are you going to be bringing in more professional wrestling to Springfield?
That's a silly question. Of course I will. Yeah, we are going to, I guess you could say, I don't say it's my number one job. We have 30 home games, and we've got all kinds of promotions. Unless you release this yet. Pro Job's going to come up. We've got a NASCAR legend coming up. All kind of theme nights. We've got collectors night, all that stuff. But we're also going to have music events. So events, non-game nights. We're going to have a wrestling event. We're going to have music events. We've got a lot lined up, and this is just really just year one. So
Jeff, how much you put on Triple H this entire industry? You worked with Triple H a little bit here at Jimmy, you worked with WWE. Any cool experience with Triple H in the chamber?
You know, we wrestled in Attitude Era. And you know, that's when our in-ring pass crossed. What I always admired about him from the beginning was his business mindset, and then obviously with NXT in the very early days. I think we both sort of have the mentality of how can we create stars of tomorrow. I think the one thing that I respect and I think I have in common with him, or one of the things, is just kind of that desire to get the satisfaction of finding new talent, developing them, and then really seeing him once. I always incredibly respected him for that.
Hey, Jeff, tonight is Ring of Honor Supercard. Wait. All right. No, that's fine. Yeah, I'm hiding here behind this camera. tonight's Ring of Honor Supercard. What do you think of Tony's acquisition of ROH? And if you had any advice to him in the kind of situation he's at where he's going to be balancing two promotions at the same time, what would be your advice to Tony?
Oh boy, that is a loaded question right there.
Thank you.
I don't know enough about what his vision is. Like, where will Ring of Honor content, is it going to stay on Sinclair? I don't really truly know enough about what his vision. I am absolutely excited because today at WrestleMania I was having a pretty deep conversation about a guy that loved the Attitude Era, and then he kind of fell off. And he said in the last couple of years, I found it through my kids and YouTube. And so I said, well, what do you watch? And he went into this list of, I watch AEW, I watch Impact, I watch this. I said, well, I bet you don't watch AAA. He said, I watch AAA. So the ability to watch multiple promotions. And so I think that the real litmus test, if you will, is that how's he going to differentiate AEW vision from a Ring of Honor vision? Because I know from personal experience, I've witnessed it, I've been a part of it. If it's AEW light, I'm not sure that's the recipe for success. On the flip side, if it's a completely different vision, more power to him, because I think wrestling is thriving with all the different brands. Look at wrestling, 6 or 7 shows, this venue today, MLW, multiple lucha shows in town. I'm, for one, super excited about where the industry's going. I mean, I think about '94, my first WrestleMania, actually being, and how it's grown, and we're doing a pay-per-view with. There is not a wrestling ring in sight tonight, and that kind of speaks to the volume of where the industry's at, and it's just going to keep bigger and bigger and bigger. The international component just continues to blossom. So, the short answer is TBD on Tony's acquisition.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that.
How have you felt getting back in the ring after a few years, and how long do you see yourself doing it?
How long? I never would have dreamed that I'd be stepping in the ring, but a lot of people are negative on the pandemic, and not everything great happened out of that. But for the first time in my life, I spent more than 60 consecutive days in Hendersonville, Tennessee. I had never done that literally since a senior in high school, and that's because of school. But I still left town on weekends to go to wrestling shows or stuff like that. But being at home all that time, and then as things transpired and launching the podcast, and I kept getting phone call after phone call, I told Karen, I said, all right, I'm going to get in shape. And she just kind of rolled her eyes. And I'm like, all right, I'll show you. But getting in shape, I feel fantastic. And I was really happy with Hammerstein in multiple ways. That new character, new look, in a way, but pulling from my past. But I'm not sure how long I'm going to do it, but I'm definitely taking it one match at a time.
Hey, Jeff, it's your 5th decade in wrestling. How have you lasted so long, and what keeps you interested?
I love it. I can tell you, look, I know almost everybody in the first league. This may sound cliche, but I really do love is the right word. I love professional wrestling more today than I did when I broke in. And so I think the passion, and when I do seminars, I tell guys, look, if you're doing this for the money or fame, and that's generally why somebody gets into it. Either they want to be famous or they make money, or both. And I tell them, those have to be 2A and 2B. You really got to love what you do. It's not, there's no amount of fame and money and all that kind of stuff. If you don't love what you're doing, you'll never succeed. So I really love it. I absolutely love it. And I think wanting to continue to be innovative, sometimes I use the word reinvent. I think that's more of an in-ring character, but as far as innovate, and I got a couple of international projects that are in development that I believe are going to be very innovative, and that's what drives my brain. How can we look at wrestling differently?
Awesome, guys. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. That's too short.
You got a whole show.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, guys. Jeff, how are you?
right.
Hello,
What's up, Jeff?
Hey,
How are you,
guys.
man?
Jeff has a couple minutes, real quick, before the Supershow. That's someone else's mic. Keep going. But yeah, a couple, fire away. Jeff, thank you for your time.
Hey, Jeff, I want to just go straight in with you and Matt reuniting on Dynamite as the Hardys. Is that something that you kind of want to do as full run, or do you want to go singles again? Have you got plans? What are your aspirations?
Not full run on last run. We're getting older, you know. I'm 44, Matt's 45, which is 47. So, I mean, it's our last run. It's going to be special. I think AEW is the only place you can actually do that. Open mind, like, be free. So, it feels so good. I'm right exactly what it was.
From a presentation standpoint of how AEW has positioned itself and stuff, what's kind of been a refreshing thing for you, like going out there and seeing how the atmosphere is and how everything is set up overall from a production standpoint? What's been a big standout for you?
Watching a Young Bucks match, you don't have to worry about a 10 count. You don't have to worry about a 5 count. It's entertainment. It's physical, but entertainment. It inspires me so much. The Young Bucks match the other night in Columbia was incredible. It's so graceful and just beautiful. And man, we can get in there with those guys and hang just, and it'd be amazing. And it's going to happen. So yeah, that's what inspires me as far as the freedom of like no rules.
Right.
So to speak.
Yeah.
Jeff, I know it's early, but has your time made so far lived up to your expectations?
Oh, for sure, a month. The first time I went there, like I said on Matt's podcast, I think I felt like a ghost. Like I was just, I've been this cool, like guy, this 20 years off and on, but like I've just made all these influences and inspired people along the way, and it just felt like a ghost. So now I feel like I'm human again. You know, we could have this last run and be like really like graceful and beautiful, just like the Young Bucks. So we can like go out on a good note instead of like, you know, just just a legend, so to speak, that should be an Hall of Fame, that I don't care about Hall of Fame. I'm getting lost, but yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Jeff,
Jeff, got a lot of new opportunities, new opponents. You get into that locker room, you're a senior member of it quickly. Do you feel excited to work with your family?
Yeah, like Luchasaurus, the keyboards. Yeah, there's so many teams. So I'm super excited about the tag team, like atmosphere of pro wrestling coming back again, us and everything, the boys, like kind of recreating the flame is tag team wrestling. Especially again, I don't want to kiss the Young Bucks' ass too much, but I love these guys, man. They're killing the business.
how does it feel to still be hitting swanton bombs after all these years? I mean, that's a pretty high impact move. Is your style on hitting them adjusted at all over time?
Yeah, it hurts. You know, it hurts just like it hurts the guy because it's no longer the swanton bombs.
Yeah.
It used to be, but actually, like we had an indie show with Enzo and Cass, and I really took care of him, man. So I rolled right off of it. It's one of those things, man. When you get older, you kind of like lose control with certain things.
Who's back there picking with Brian? You lock on, you guys. Who's back there picking with Brian? Who's following you around? Who's trying to get advice from you?
I'm in the neck. I'm a lot like I think John Thompson. We can keep ourselves. I don't know him that well, but like I feel like that. And that's more than like social. Yeah. I do my thing. And that's it.
We'd always hear that in WWE, Michael Hayes is the guy that's like, can you jump off this? Can you jump off that? Who was the one in AEW that said, hey, there's this wall. Can you scale it and jump off of it?
Darby Allin.
I love it. There you go.
Of course.
I met Darby and I kind of marked out like big time. He said, hey man, I'm Darby. I said, hey man, I'm Jeff. Because the first time I saw Darby, like, Tony Khan, actually, the first time I met him, said, there's this guy called Darby Allin. They're saying he's the new Jeff Hardy. And that's our white guy. Okay. People used to say, I'm the next Shawn Michaels. I don't believe that at all. He's the first Darby Allin. But he found that place, and I went up there. They all went up there, and they felt that it was sketchy as hell. And I was so scared I was going to slip and get hurt. I got $2 and a wife I love more than life. I was so scared I was getting hurt, but everything went so smooth. But yeah, Darby, that one.
Thank you, Darby. Touring time. For touring stuff, how's like music and everything like that? How are you going to incorporate that while you do your AEW schedule and everything?
I don't know. That's the unknown. But tonight's very exciting because we're doing the podcast, great music set, like afterwards. It's some original music, man. And that's my heart, man, and my mind, you know. So I can't wait for people to experience that.
Go ahead.
What's your vision for next in the music industry?
The next album, I think, is the heaviest and darkest stuff I've ever written. I think it's going to be good, but I think the key to my success will be making the music video to this song called Manifestations, which is very dark. It's about dark. And actually, like, to where people can actually see what I was seeing. So actually committing to making the music video to the song to where the album comes out. And it's just, and one's really evil, and I'm so excited. It's a great project.
I hate to interrupt you, brother, but I'm so excited to see you, man. I just want to tell you in front of everybody, I'm really excited for you here. Thank you so much, bud. I'll see you out on stage. All right.
But anyway, that's the thing. A video and the project at the same time. I think that's my way.
Very last one, guys. Anyway, Jeff, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jeff.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Get you next.
Nice. All right. Random little 45 minutes. That's fine.
Yeah.
I dig that. I hope AEW can do that. I hope we can do that.
They don't know. Tony hit me up saying, "The Scrum," and I was like, "No," and I was like, "I gotta go my book, pal." But I was like, "Listen, if your PR team wouldn't have sent an email saying there will be no Scrum, then I would not have planned to do something."
I agree with that. Well, I think it's because he heard. I think he's trying to think he's stopping everything. I think it's like intent. I think it was only done to fuck over Joey. Of course. Why else would they do it? Like, they would not just change. I mean, like, I thought they were going to announce the media scrums initially, because like that's their that's how it does that. But when they decided to do it on 48 hours notice, I was like, oh, this is intentional.